Hello medicos, welcome to the official Handshake Medical YouTube channel. I Kashki Dwivedi is here with you. Today I am going to deal with the very important topic, that is the aneurysm. So you may come across the aneurysm, the term aneurysm many times in the pathology. So it is a very important tool. So I am discussing this aneurysm here. So first of all, what is it? It is nothing but a bulging or the outpouching or the expansion. So it is actually a permanent abnormal dilatation of the aortic or any of the blood vessel wall. It may be aorta, it may be any of the artery, vein, or also we use this term aneurysm for the wall of the heart. So if there is an expansion, dilatation in the wall of the heart, so too we give it a term aneurysm. So we have discussed the aneurysm, definition of the aneurysm here. Now coming on to the origin. Origin, actually think over it, that why there is the dilatation. So this dilatation actually due to the weakening or the attenuation or the destruction of the vessel wall. So the vessel wall is being dilated, outpouched or expanded. So we will discuss this in next slide. Now coming on to the origin. Origin is actually, it may be congenital by birth or it may be acquired in the lifetime. Now coming on to the location. So we would study location in two ways. Number one, on the type of the vessel involved. So on the basis of the type of the vessel involved, it may be in aorta, it may be in artery, it may be in vein, or it may involve the wall of the heart. Now specific region involved. On the basis of the specific region involved, most commonly it is present in the large elastic arteries. Here I am highlighting it. It may commonly present in the large elastic arteries. It may commonly present in the large elastic arteries, especially in the aorta and the popliteal artery and its major branches. So we have discussed commonly where it is found. Now it is a very broad topic. So we will discuss the aneurysm, its pathogenesis, predisposition factor, clinical features, signs and symptoms, along with complications and its consequences, and prognostic factors, mortalities of emergency and elective surgery, and also various syndromes associated with it. So we will discuss these all. In separate videos one by one on this basis, on this sequence. Here actually I am going in detail about the classifying feature or classification of aneurysm. But before coming to our topic, that is the classifying feature or the classification of aneurysm in detail, first giving you some more detail about the aneurysm so that it would be more clear, more understandable, or you may easily got this classifying feature. So before coming on to the main topic, that is the classifying feature or the classification or the types of aneurysm proper, I wish to give you a little more detail about the aneurysm so that classification is more clear to you all. So understanding the reason of development of this aneurysm. So why this aneurysm is developed? So actually I am saying in the definition that aneurysm is the dilatation, expansion or outpouching of the wall of the artery or of the wall of the blood vessel or the wall of the heart. So why this bulging, why this dilatation is occurring? So actually we know very well that the vessels or the heart is actually composed of the mesothelium. It is formed of the mesothelium or it is derived from the mesothelium, and the vessel's wall is actually composed of the connective tissue. Now, if I am saying that there is an attenuation or weakening or destruction of the vessel wall, so actually this connective tissue, that is the composition of the vessels, is involving. So we would say that if there is a defect, if there is a defect in the synthesis, or if there is an inadequate amount of synthesis or abnormal synthesis of this connective tissue in the vessel's wall, that may affect this attenuation or weakening. Secondly, if there is destruction, if there is a destruction of the connective tissue, one thing is that synthesis is reduced, synthesis is inadequate, synthesis is abnormal, so the vessel's wall is affecting. Otherwise, second reason is the degradation. It is the synthesis is normal, but the connective tissue in the vessel wall is degrading. So there will be the rupture on degradation, there will be the rupture on the vessel's wall. So we have understand the reason of development of aneurysm. Now coming on to the ill effects or the harms of the aneurysm. So ill effect includes the thromboembolism. So this ill effect may include the thrombus and the embolism. So there may be the thrombus formation. Ill effect include the thrombus as well as embolism. So it may involve the both. Collectively we would call it as a thromboembolism. Secondly, there is an alteration of flow. If I am saying that the wall of the blood vessel is being dilated, being outpouched, so what would happen? There will be the stasis. There will be the stasis of blood. There is the alteration of the flow of the blood. There will be the alteration of the flow of the blood, or there will be the stasis that may cause the thrombus. And if that thrombus is dislodged, it may cause the embolism. Thirdly, rupture. If it is outpouched, if it is overstretched, and also the wall is attenuated or weakened, so it may easily rupture because it is outbulged or too much dilated, and also it is weak, it is attenuated, so it may rupture, and on rupture it may cause massive hemorrhage, it may cause massive fatal hemorrhage, it may cause. Also, if it is outbulged, if it is dilated, so it may compress the neighboring adjacent structures or organs or any type of structure if it is present neighboring to it or nearby it, so it may compress, like ureter may compress, like that. Also the abdominal mass ill effect is that it may stimulate the synthesis of tumor. Okay? Now coming on to the next slide. Now the classifying feature, it is our topic of our today discussion. We would mainly discuss over the classifying features today. So we would go to the classification, various features. Number one, origin. I have discussed the origin of the aneurysm may be congenital, it may be by birth, or it may be acquired in the lifetime. Second one, location. It may be present in the, I have discussed earlier that location, type of the vessel involved. So actually it may present in the artery, it may present in the vein, and also it may present in the wall of the heart. So aneurysm is a very specific term, and we also use this aneurysm term for the dilatation in the wall of the heart. Now on the basis of the gross appearance, that is the morphology or the shape and size of the aneurysm, we would classify it. Fourth, on the composition of the wall, means the composition of the wall, the affected wall. Actually the blood vessels is normally composed of the three walls. one is the tunica intima present inside, second one is the tunica media present in mid, and the outer one is the tunica adventitia. So the vessel's wall, the type of the vessel wall on the basis of the composition or the affected layer, affected wall of the blood vessel, we would classify aneurysm. And last one is the on the basis of the etiology, on the basis of the cause, and on the basis of the pathogenesis, we would classify. So this is our topic of our today discussion. We would go in detail of classifying features of all this type on the basis of the via various pictorial representation, various of the diagrams. Now proceeding further. So actually this one is the normal, this one is the normal blood vessel. So what would happen in the normal blood vessel? This one is the normal lumen. This one is the normal lumen of a normal blood vessel, and this one is the three layer. Innermost is the tunica intima, middle one is the tunica media, and the outer one is the tunica adventitia. So these are the three layers of the blood vessels, and these are lying one above the other. Actually tunica media is inside, and over it is tunica media, and over it is the tunica adventitia. So these three layers are lying one above the other in close proximity, and there is no much separation between these three layers. So this is the normal physiology, and here lies the normal lumen, and in between the wall of the blood vessel, in between the tunica intima, tunica media, and the tunica externa, there is no any separation, no any flap, there is no any lumen present. These are in close proximity, no separation is present in the normal. Now coming on to the aneurysm on the basis of the affected vessel's wall. So number one aneurysm is the true aneurysm. Number one aneurysm is the true aneurysm. So what would happen in the true aneurysm? Actually in the true aneurysm, all the wall of the blood vessels are totally intact. There is no any destruction or the rupture of the vessel's wall. The vessel wall is totally intact, but there is a weakening due to the attenuation of the various regions we would discuss in the pathogenesis. So due to the defect in the synthesis or due to the destruction of the connective tissue, this causes the weakening that predisposes to the true aneurysm. So true aneurysm may be saccular, may be fusiform, may be cylindrical, may be aortic dissection. So we would discuss these in morphology, saccular type, fusiform type, cylindrical type. We would discuss in morphology of aneurysm in next slide. So here we are discussing the aneurysm on the basis of the affected vessel's wall. So in true aneurysm we are discussing that none of the vessel wall is being affected. All the three layers, three vessel wall, tunica intima, tunica media, and the tunica adventitia are totally intact. Only there is a weakening, only there is a attenuation, by virtue of which the vessel wall is being dilated. So the true aneurysm may be saccular, may be fusiform, may be cylindrical, may be aortic dissection type, and also in etiology we would discuss the atherosclerotic, syphilitic. So a true aneurysm may be of various types. Now coming on to the false aneurysm also known as the pseudo aneurysm. Pseudo means actually false. So false aneurysm or the pseudo aneurysm, what would happen? There is a destruction, there is a breach or hole in the intima and the media. So if the intima and the media is being breached or ruptured, or if there is a hole present in between these two, so the blood will reaches from the normal lumen to the perivascular, that is around the blood vessel. So it may reaches to the perivascular space, but it is limited by the tunica adventitia. So this blood in the perivascular space, this blood in the perivascular space this one is the perivascular space. So in the perivascular space, what would happen? The blood may reaches and form a hematoma. Hematoma is actually a blood filled space that is contained in the adventitia. So this tunica adventitia, I am highlighting it with another pen. So this tunica adventitia, this one is the tunica adventitia. So this hematoma or the perivascular clot, this hematoma or the perivascular clot, this hematoma or the perivascular clot is being separated from the normal lumen, normal intravascular space or the intravascular blood by a, so this hematoma or a perivascular clot is actually separated from the or restricted or limited by the, this one is the extravascular space. So it is limited by the extravascular space by a tunica adventitia, by a tunica adventitia. This one is the tunica adventitia which is separating this hematoma with the, this hematoma with the extravascular space. And also I am saying that I am changing the pen here. Yeah, color of the pen is I am changing. So what would happen? So this hematoma, clearing the screen, 1 minute. So yes, wait a minute. So this hematoma is actually present in the perivascular space, and it may actually communicate, it can freely communicate with the intravascular space. So it may also known as the pulsating hematoma, because via this breach present here, this hematoma may easily communicate between the intravascular space and the perivascular space. So it is also known as the pulsating hematoma. It is also known as the pulsating hematoma. Also one thing more, that this hematoma is present in the perivascular space and limited by the tunica adventitia, limited by this tunica adventitia. So what would happen? This hematoma cannot communicate with the extravascular space. So here lies the extravascular space, so it cannot communicate with this hematoma cannot communicate with the extravascular space. So it is also known as the organized hematoma and also known as the pulsating hematoma, because it can freely communicate with the intravascular space. So we have discussed the false aneurysm or the pseudo aneurysm here. Here there is dilatation due to the breach or hole in between the intima and the media. Now coming on to the next slide. So on the basis of the layers involved, or on the basis of affected layers, we have discussed this one is the, wait a minute, this first picture is demonstrating the true aneurysm. So all the vessel wall, you may see that all the three vessels wall is intact, is totally intact. Only there is, due to the weakening, due to the attenuation, the vessel wall is expanded, and this weakening is due to the defect in the synthesis or due to the destruction of the connective tissue of the vessel wall. Second one is the dissecting time of aneurysm. So this one is the dissecting type of aneurysm. What would happen in the dissecting type of aneurysm? This is also a type of the aneurysm on the basis of the layers involved, that is the defect in the affected vessel due to the affected vessels. So there is the intimal defect. So this one is the intima, this one is intima. So intima is being breached, or there is a presence of hole in the intima. So what would happen? Normally I have discussed that all the three vessels wall are totally one above the other. There lies the innermost intima, over which lies the media, and over the media there lies the tunica adventitia. So all the three are totally one above the other. There is a no separation, there is a no any space present. But what would happen in the case of the dissecting aneurysm? Actually, what would happen? The blood, this one is the normal lumen. So from the normal lumen, what would happen? The blood reaches to the in between the vessels wall, and there is a formation of the false lumen. There is a formation of flap, there is a formation of separation. So here lies the separation, flap between the vessels wall, and the blood may reaches this vessel wall, may accumulate in these vessels wall, and there is a formation of a double barrel. Actually, the normal lumen, there is blood in the normal lumen, plus there is blood in the false lumen that is created in between the vessels wall, between the underlying vessels wall. So there is a formation of a false lumen. So there is appearance like a double barreled gun. You have seen the double barreled gun. So likewise, there is a formation of, due to the formation of true lumen normally that is present, and there is a formation of false lumen due to the accumulation of blood in between the vessels wall. There is a formation of double barreled gun like appearance known as the aortic dissection. Actually, this dissecting aneurysm is a old term. We now use a new term, latest term, that is aortic dissection instead of the dissecting aneurysm, because what would happen in the dissecting aneurysm, there is no any presence of aortic dilation. So we have changed the old term, that is the dissecting aneurysm, and replace it with a new term instead, that is the aortic dissection. So we have discussed this type also. Third one, this one is the false type of aneurysm. Actually, what would happen? We have discussed in the false type of aneurysm, there is a hole or breach in the intima and media both. So blood is limited by the tunica adventitia only, and the tunica intima and the tunica media are being breached, and there is a formation of the hematoma, that is a blood filled space created, or the perivascular clot here, that is limited to the extravascular space. This one is the extravascular space. It is limited to the extravascular space, or the perivascular space is limited to the extravascular space by a tunica adventitia only, because the tunica media and the tunica intima is breached or holed or ruptured. So this hematoma is also known as the organized hematoma, because it is limited by the tunica adventitia to the extravascular space. Also, this hematoma is in close proximity, it can freely communicate with the intravascular space. So it is also known as the pulsating hematoma. Because this hematoma may easily pulsate between the perivascular space and the intravascular space. So known as the pulsating hematoma, and because this hematoma is being limited to the extravascular space. So this one is the extravascular space, so it is limited to the extravascular space by a tunica adventitia. So it is also known as the organized hematoma. Now coming on to the aneurysm based on the morphology, gross appearance, or the shape and size of the vessel. So number one, we have discussed that the true aneurysm may be of saccular fusiform. So likewise here we would study, this one is the normal blood vessel, all the walls are intact. Second one is the fusiform. What would happen? There is a formation of a spindle shaped or ovoid or the fusiform shaped dilatation, bulging. So this is the fusiform type of aneurysm. This one is the fusiform type of aneurysm. So in fusiform type of aneurysm, it is a type of the true aneurysm. It is a type of the true aneurysm, and so all the vessels wall are intact here. It is actually present in the examples of fusiform aneurysm are it is present in the arch of aorta, iliac arteries. So these are the examples, and the dilatation here the dilatation varies in size and length both. So the diameter of this ovoid, fusiform or the spindle shaped aneurysm may vary. The diameter of the aneurysm may be up to 20 centimeters. Now coming on to the second type of aneurysm, that is the saccular type. So this one is the saccular type of aneurysm. What would happen in the saccular type of aneurysm? There is a formation of a outpouched, or there is a bulging balloon like. Actually the name itself suggests it is saccular. Saccular means there is a presence of the globular sac like appearance, and this sac has a diameter from 5 to 20 centimeters. In fusiform the diameter is up to 20 centimeter, and here also the saccular aneurysm the diameter is up to 5 to 20 centimeter. So there is a formation of pouch, balloon like, outpouching, or as the name suggests saccular, so it is a globular sac like appearance. Here you may also see it is a globular sac like appearance. Here you may also see there is a globular sac like appearance. This is a globular sac like appearance. The diameter is from 5 to 20 centimeters. Now third type of aneurysm on the basis of morphology is the one-sided aneurysm. So here what would happen, the side of the aneurysm is totally intact. So here also there is totally intact vessel, but the other side, due to the weakening, due to the attenuation, due to the any type of the defect in the connective tissue of this side of the vessel wall, the unilateral or one-sided, there is bulging, one side outpouching, one side dilatation or the expansion, known as the unilateral type of aneurysm. So this is also a type of aneurysm on the basis of the morphology. Now coming on to the next type of aneurysm on the basis of morphology, it is the serpentine like a snake. Serpentine like a snake, or also known as the varicose type of aneurysm. This is also a aneurysm on the basis of morphology. So what would happen, there is a several asymmetrical. So these are the asymmetrical expansions. These are the asymmetrical expansions formed, and these are in continuous succession. So here is the first asymmetrical expansion, then the second asymmetrical expansion is totally in rapid succession. Here also seeing the serpentine or the snake like, I am highlighting it. So these are the asymmetrical expansions, asymmetrical expansion, and these all three asymmetrical expansions are in rapid succession, known as the serpentine type of aneurysm on the basis of morphology, appearance, shape, size. So serpentine, it is a snake like, and also known as the varicose type of aneurysm. As you have learned the varicosities, or you have come through word varicose in the varicosity, varicose vein. Likewise, it is a serpentine or the varicose type of aneurysm on the basis of the morphology. Now the next one aneurysm is the cylindrical type of aneurysm. Cylindrical type of aneurysm. So here is a continuous parallel dilatation. So here lies the continuous parallel dilatation. So in cylindrical type of aneurysm, there is a continuous parallel dilatation. Continuous parallel dilatation. And fifth one, actually the dissecting aneurysm or the aortic dissection. I have given the new term aortic dissection. So aortic dissection type of aneurysm E1. So this one is the aortic dissection type of aneurysm, is present in all the three types of aneurysm. That is because there is a vessel wall affected, because there is a tear, there is a breach in the tunica intima. So it is involved in the type of aneurysm on the basis of affected vessel wall. It is also involved on the basis of morphology, because the morphological structure of this aneurysm of this vessel is being affected. And thirdly, it is also involved in the cause or the pathogenesis, involved in the classification of aneurysm on the basis of etiology, that we would discuss in the next slide. So I have discussed the aortic dissection. What would happen? There is a tear, there is a breach in the tunica intima, by virtue of which the blood reaches in between the layers of the blood vessels, and forming a false lumen here, forming a flap separation between these layers, and forming a false lumen in between the vessel wall along with the normal lumen, so forming a double barreled gun like appearance of the blood vessel. Now one more type of aneurysm on the basis of morphology is the racemose type of aneurysm. So what would happen in the racemose type of aneurysm? It is also known as the sarcoid or the arteriovenous type of aneurysm. So in this type of aneurysm, what would happen? There is an intercommunication between the arteries and the veins. There is an intercommunication between the arteries and the veins, and there is a direct communication between the arteries and the veins. There is a direct communication present, and also there is a intercommunication. There is a direct communication, intercommunication between the arteries and veins. It is actually present in the small arteries and veins. This type of aneurysm on the basis of the morphology is the racemose, arteriovenous or psychotic type. So as one name is the arteriovenous, it is very clear by its name arteriovenous that there is a intercommunication, direct communication between the small arteries and the veins. So this much is all about the aneurysm on the basis of the morphology. One more type of aneurysm on the basis of morphology is the Berry aneurysm, that is present in the circle of Willis, that is present at the base of the brain. We would discuss that the circles of Willis actually forms the major blood supply of the blood. So in Berry aneurysm, it is also a type of the true aneurysm because all the vessels wall is being intact. So we will discuss the Berry aneurysm in next slide, where we will discuss the aneurysm on the basis of the etiology or the pathogenesis. And this one is the false aneurysm. We have discussed it in the aneurysm on the basis of the type of the affected vessel wall. So in false aneurysm, there is a breach in the tunica intima and the tunica media both. So in false aneurysm, there is a breach in the tunica intima and the tunica media both, and the blood reaches to the perivascular space, that is the space around the blood vessel, that is known as the perivascular space. But this perivascular space is limited. By a tunica adventitia, by a extravascular space. So this one is the extravascular space is limited by the tunica adventitia. So this hematoma or the perivascular clot present that is limited by the tunica adventitia is known as the organized hematoma. But this hematoma can communicate with the intravascular space directly. So this hematoma is also known as the pulsating hematoma. So this hematoma is specially named, especially it has the two specific name, pulsating hematoma because it can communicate between the perivascular space and the intravascular space, so pulsating hematoma, and organized hematoma because this hematoma cannot communicate by the extravascular space from the perivascular space by a limiting membrane, by a restricting membrane, that is tunica adventitia. Now coming on to the aneurysm on the basis of the etiology, cause or the pathogenesis. So this picture actually demonstrate, this picture actually demonstrate the site and the types of aneurysm on the basis of the etiology, cause or the pathogenesis. So number one is the atherosclerotic type of aneurysm. Atherosclerotic, here this is the most common type of aneurysm, and here there is a formation of atheroma. We know very well about the atherosclerosis. So this one is the atherosclerotic type of aneurysm here, atherosclerotic type of aneurysm, atherosclerotic type of aneurysm. So it is the most common type of aneurysm on the basis of the etiology, cause or the pathogenesis. Second one is the syphilitic type. Syphilitic type of aneurysm that is present in the tertiary state of the syphilis. Syphilis, very well known that it is a venereal disease, it is STD. So syphilitic type of aneurysm is present in the tertiary state of the syphilis. We have discussed in syphilis that there are the various stages of the syphilis. So this syphilitic type of aneurysm is present in the tertiary state of the syphilis. Next one is the mycotic type of aneurysm. Mycotic type of aneurysm, actually mycotic is a misnomer term. Misnomer term, why I am saying misnomer? Because the name mycotic suggests that this type of aneurysm is by the virtue of the infection by the fungus, but it is not like so. Actually in the mycotic type of aneurysm there is a infection of the bacteria, but misnomer term is the mycotic used here. So due to the infection of the bacteria, what would happen? There is a formation of the aneurysm known as the mycotic type of aneurysm. Now next type is the dissecting or the aortic dissection type of aneurysm. We have discussed it many times in the classification of aneurysm on the basis of the affected vessel wall, on the basis of morphology, and here so I am discussing the dissecting aneurysm on the basis of the etiology or cause. So due to the intimal defect, there is a separation of the vessel's wall, there is a formation of flap, there is a formation of false lumen in between these vessel wall, and also there is a normal lumen. So there is appearance of double barreled gun like appearance known as the dissecting aneurysm or the aortic dissection. Actually dissecting aneurysm is the old term and the new term is the aortic dissection. And one mode is the berry aneurysm. We have also studied it in the classification based on the morphology. In the berry aneurysm, what would happen? All the vessel wall is intact, so it is a type of true aneurysm too. And actually berry aneurysm is present especially in the circle of Willis. So circle of Willis is actually present in the base of the brain. Circle of Willis is actually present in the base of the brain, that we would study in the separate video that the circle of Willis, actually this is the circle of Willis that actually forms the major blood supply of the brain, and it is present at the base of the brain, and this berry aneurysm is present in the, we would found it in the circle of Willis. So this much is all about the aneurysm classification. So what we have discussed, I am briefing, I am just revising once more. We have discussed the definition, then we have discussed its origin. It may be congenital by birth or it may be acquired in the lifetime. Then we have discussed the location. So here we have discussed that the artery may involve, the veins may involve, and also the wall may involve. So we would also use this aneurysm term for the wall of the heart. Then the specific region, it is present in the large elastic arteries, aorta, popliteal artery and its major branches. Then we have discussed its region attenuation due to the defective, inadequate, abnormal synthesis and degradation. And then ill effect we have discussed. Then we have reached to the classification. In classification we have discussed classification on the basis of origin, location, gross appearance, morphology or the shape and size, composition of the vessel wall, affected vessel wall, and the etiology on the basis of the cause, on the basis of the pathogenesis. So we have discussed this classification via this diagrams, these pictures very well. I hope if it is till now not clear to you all, I would suggest that you may pause this video several times and you may repeat this video again, so it would be more clear to you all. When I would come back, I would further proceed to this topic again, aneurysm topic again, and we would discuss, I would give you detail about the pathogenesis, predisposition factor, clinical features, its signs and symptoms, various complications, consequences and prognostic factors, and the mortalities of emergency and the elective surgery for the aneurysm. And there also we study various of the syndromes associated with the aneurysm. So this much is all about the classification of aneurysm. I hope it would be clear to you all. So thanks for watching. Thank you. Thank you.